Welcome back to another episode of Aces Conference, the podcast. I am on East Coast Justin, and always with me is West Coast Tim. What's up,
Hey, everybody.
Tim?
Hey, Justin.
Tim, you're so far West Coast, you're in the water.
I'm so far West Coast, I'm just going to stomp on you every time you say something. I'm just going to talk right on top of you. But yeah, I'm in the water today. We're at the cabin. It's a beautiful Friday or morning here, I guess. So I apologize for a little road noise. This is, as we were discussing before we started recording, this is where I like to sit out and have my little glass of wine in the evening. And
It's Friday.
You can watch the kids play. Yeah.
Friday night, let the kids play in the street.
On the deck. They play on the deck.
You're a good parent. Speaking of parents, we have a guest who has a couple of kids also. Welcome, Alec Wills from Bitworx. What's up, buddy?
Hey, good afternoon, Justin, Tim.
You're on the East Coast. You're an East Coaster like me because you're in Florida.
Yep.
So we were talking before we started recording about the need for certification. So when depending on when this drops, we're recording this. It's April 10th. Rutabaga is currently sweeping the nation. And so we were discussing what, as IT professionals, we're doing during the time that we have, because now we have I have a little bit more downtime. I mean, I'm planning Aces, but I have a little bit more downtime from like my virtual work, from my normal day to day. What about you guys?
I'm hoping to have some downtime. We're starting to get to the point where we're having a little bit of downtime. So I think, now, we get that Aces virtual stuff going, but yeah, I plan on doing as much training and cleanup as possible in the next month or two.
What about you, Alec?
Our largest client just went on their spring break, so we are starting to finally see some downtime as well, and things are starting to settle, although we're now seeing a lot of questions about should we use Zoom or not.
Yeah.
You can use Zoom. I'm all for using Zoom. Okay, so when we're recording this, there's issues with Zoom, but like my thought process was like if it wasn't Zoom and it was Joe's video chat, it would be getting the same amount of scrutiny because everybody's on it. They went from 10 million calls a year to 200 million calls in a month or something ridiculous like that, right? Wait, so we were talking about, so hopefully if you have some downtime, are you going to use that, Alec, to like, what are you going to work on internally for your business?
So before all the Rutabaga stuff started, we were in the middle of transitioning our PSA. So that has now resumed. And we're looking to use that to automate a lot of things to hopefully generate some more downtime where we can keep up with our training and maybe add some more certifications.
All right, we don't like TLAs on this show. No 3-letter acronyms. So what do you
Especially because it's a Friday. It's an acronym-free Friday
It's acronym-free Friday. Oh my God, we should totally start that. Oh, it's Gratitude Friday. I got to drop something in. What are you moving from, and first off, we even totally skipped like our normal round of questions like, hey, tell everybody who you are and something about yourself. But like we assume everybody knows Alec from Bitworx in Florida. So what are you moving from and what are you moving to?
So we were using Fresh Service as our PSA tool, and what we found there was just the integrations were not the ones that we needed. So we are moving to Kaseya's BMS system, which offers integrations with pretty much every tool that we use. We do all our documentation in IT Glue and all of our bookkeeping and QuickBooks and all of that. And the Fresh Service integration was really kind of hacked together, and BSA has it really locked down where we can handle a customer from beginning to end in one platform without having to bounce around too much. So it's really going to cut down on not only downtime from switching tools and logging in and out of all these different windows, but also ensuring that people use all the tools.
Right.
It's a lot easier to not use IT Glue when it requires you to log into another window, and now I've got to log into that tool. But once you're in BMS, the tools are integrated and your IT Glue window pops up automatically with the knowledge base about that device.
Oh, that's cool. We use Zendesk. Is Zendesk considered a PSA? I think it's just people tell me I'm wrong.
It's a ticketing system. So the
So no.
PSA, for anyone who doesn't know, the professional services automation tool,
Yeah.
that will integrate your ticketing system, usually with your knowledge base in some way, along with your invoicing and accounting system. And with BMS, it will also integrate your scheduling for either service calls or callbacks. It can actually integrate with Office 365 and iCloud calendars. So it will tell your customer or tell you when you have availability for a ticket. And you can even drag and drop a ticket into a service call. So if you have a ticket and you suddenly need to go out on site, you can drop it on someone's calendar and it will schedule it.
This seems super awesome and super, like, it makes life a lot easier. Why the hell am I not using this thing?
I don't know, because I feel like it would save you a lot more time and money than it would me, but
Well, I mean, so I have Lauren who works for me. I think Lauren is my PSA is really what this comes down to, right?
yeah.
Because like Lauren, and God bless you, Lauren, you never listen to this show, but you watch this. Lauren transcribes the shows for us for the blog. So Lauren, you have to now write the words, Lauren, I love you for everything you do for Virtua in the transcription. But like, she, whenever we need to schedule or send invoices or look stuff up on IT, I always just make her do it.
See, right now I handle all of that. So this is
There you go.
not only to take some off my plate, but to make sure that I don't forget things.
So how many people work at Bitworx? It's you and one other, right?
There's two of us that work, and then the other partner, he works mostly on the weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm full-time. We have a contractor that works 8 hours a week. And then Vince, my partner, he works on the weekends. So he does the service calls when I'm home with the kids.
Oh, so you're like 24/7 for people.
I'm roughly 40 hours a week. I do things in the evening when it's convenient for me. So like I'll do maintenance on servers late at night when the business is closed, but I do it on my time when the kids are in bed and things like that while I'm playing video games.
A PSA is really good for, it could be good for a larger company, but for definitely a smaller company, if you don't have a Lauren.
Exactly.
Wait, so Tim, what do you do?
Every day I'm hustling, baby.
You've been talking to me too much. These are words that I say.
For me, I just have like 15 windows open in Safari, and I'm bouncing back and forth through all the different things. So like, yeah, we use IT Glue, we use Watchman, we use Zendesk, we use attendee, and bits and pieces of those integrate with each other, and other bits and pieces of them don't integrate with each other very well. I got an email this morning from, or I guess it was yesterday, from IT Glue, I think, about a request that I had made, a feature request that I had made to like improve the Watchman integration.
Oh, I got that one. Yeah, they closed. Yeah. They said it was solved.
Right.
IT Glue now integrates with Watchman or something like that.
I'm curious about this, Alec, because this is something I looked at and thought about a few years back. Like doing and more when we had a bigger team. I thought, okay, this might make sense. This might streamline some things and make life easier for us. What have you found? When I kind of dug into it, I realized that it was probably more work than I would be able to get my partner to buy into. So like, it's a struggle for me to get him to do like documentation stuff, for instance, or to close tickets. He does the ticket, but he doesn't actually close the ticket. And so, like, I kind of wonder, like, for us, it didn't feel like there would be a way. It was just another level of things. Hi, buddy. What do you guys doing? This is the new normal, right?
Between the bird chirping and you talking to your son, this episode is going great.
What do you I like that.
And Justin doesn't edit.
And Justin doesn't edit. He might edit this part out. Hey, Lauren, did you know Justin said he's going to give you a raise? Anyway, Alec, what did you find? So, like, when we were looking at it several years ago, not everything integrated. So that was a problem, right? Because like it was just another piece of a puzzle that didn't do all the parts that I needed it to do. But then it was also pretty expensive, both from a like it was going to take a month or two to get it set up and working, and the time on that. There was like a I don't think they call it a jump. It's not a jump start fee, but a something similar. Like there was an integration cost, and then the
Yeah.
monthly cost on top of it, and it felt like a lot. Sounds like you either that stuff has changed, or you felt like that was all good spend for your business.
So in my experience, I never worked with Zendesk, but with some other tools that I priced out that were similar to Zendesk that were just ticketing solutions, it
Mm-hmm.
usually involved other tools to do the same thing that the PSA does for a flat rate. And to
Mm-hmm.
do that, you end up paying for all these extra tools. Like if you want to track your time, now you've got to have a tool that's designed
Right.
for time tracking. The PSA includes that. So once you price it all out, a lot of times the price is very similar. And it's one of those things, depending on the PSA, they might do everything but not do anything well. So you really got to
Mm-hmm.
go through the trial and put it through its paces
See, I think
Right.
that's
to
the biggest
see.
problem, right?
Yeah.
Like, because like we looked at we were gonna go to Zoho, and I'm very public that I am not happy with the way that worked out. So we try to move from, because Zoho was promising everything, and it just didn't work because like, and that's the debate, right? Do you want to go to a tool that has everything and every tool works 75%, or would you rather have 5 individual tools that all work 95%? And cost is obviously a huge component in that, because like when I think about our our Zendesk setup, like that cost is that cost, but I forget that I also have to add in that I'm paying $4 a month per agent for SweetHawk just for the tasks
Right.
component, right? Or not that we have to get charged for, but Watchman's, would be another, because we're paying for Watchman, and then we have the Watchman integration, or like those things, those add-ons, and like you forget how to add all that up to see what you're really paying. So you price it all out. I mean, you don't have to tell us what you're paying; it's fine. But like, because what basically you're looking for is a single pane of glass, right?
Yeah.
You're looking for in a single pane to work from. Is it worth it to have the single pane of glass? And at what point do you think it's no longer worth it?
I think it's worth it because what I have found is the less integrations you need, the better. If things are already all there together, they talk to each other. Zoho, the way I understand it, they operate under the same model that Freshdesk and Freshservice do, where they offer multiple products, but they're not all immediately integrated. So Zoho does CRM, but it's a separate product from their PSA tool.
Right.
And Freshdesk and Freshservice, they do the same thing. They have a separate CRM for tracking like potential sales or opportunities. And it doesn't immediately sync with their PSA tool. You have to tell it, hand this person over to the PSA tool. I've completed the sale and they're now a customer.
Right.
And with BMS, that all is in one. If a customer is in as an opportunity, they're already in as a customer that you can start creating tickets on. There's no handover required.
Right. No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm looking at the BMS website as we're talking, and like right on their homepage, they're showing a picture of like a piece of asset with details, and they're showing an IT glue modal window like in it, that and all the relations and stuff like that. So like I understand the concept, especially with Kaseya, and I'm not trying to diss on Kaseya, but Kaseya is buying up a lot of properties right now, right? Kaseya bought IT Glue, Kaseya bought ID Agent, who's a sponsor of ACES, both the live and the virtual show. And so it seems that they're trying to like work their way in and get to that point where it really is a single pane of glass, where you're getting everything at, an 80, 90%, efficiency rate.
Exactly. And that was how we got into trying out BMS. Was we already used IT Glue. We got onto ID Agent at at the ACES conference last year. I know that a lot of people from Attendee are from Kaseya, so we've had a lot of conversations about the tools that way. So it kind of made sense to give them a try, since Fresh Service was not really working out. And I don't want to, Fresh Service is not awful. I don't want to throw them under the bus or anything. It just didn't work for us. You know, it works
That's fine.
well
We're
enough.
fine with we're
stuck
fine
with
with throwing
computers.
people under the bus on this show. We don't.
I throw Justin under the bus all day long.
The only people we can't throw under the bus are the people who are sponsoring ACES Conference 2020, the prequel happening May 19th and 20th, virtually. Pick up your tickets now at acesconf.com. Did that.
Like it. Hey, so, okay, this is not what we were going to talk about today. And I know we never have a plan. We come and sit down. But this one time, Alec and I had talked. So Alec and I, we did happy hour on Wednesday night. And as happy hour was winding down, it was just the two of us. We were having the last extra beer, you know, amongst ourselves. And we were just kind of talking about what was going on in our businesses and stuff we were working on. And he was telling me about a project that he just did. And I thought, I think I stopped him about 3/4 of the way through, or maybe like 97% of the way through the story. And I said, wait, we should be recording this. We should talk about this in person. We should talk about this on the podcast, because I think people would like to hear this story. I think it's interesting. I was impressed how quickly he was able to pivot for his customer. And so anyway, can we talk about that, Justin? Are you all right if we just like take away from whatever you were heading to and go down to?
I'll go do some emails. You guys can chit chat. It's fine.
No, so but I'm teasing. But when the rutabaga hit,
when rutabagas fell from the sky, yeah.
When rutabagas fell from the sky, Alec was working on a project for a school. And Alec, you want to just kind of tell the story, the tale?
Yeah, sure. So just to set the timeline on how this happened, we originally signed this client on February 1st was when we were going to start onboarding with them. And we had set a 1-month onboarding period where we were going to get our remote monitoring and management tool installed. I'm trying not to use the 3-letter acronym. We wanted to get that installed on all the PCs and Macs and the server at the school. And they have about 40 PCs for teachers to use and administrators and all that. And then they have 400 iPads for the students to use. And we took over from an in-house IT person who was at the school every day during school hours and didn't really have any reason to have remote access to anything, and was still using Profile Manager, which during the meetup the other day, as soon as I said Profile Manager, Tim's face kind of scrunched up in pain, imagining 400 iPads managed on, it was an old MacBook Pro, probably 7-8 years old MacBook Pro running Profile Manager, and for 400 iPads, which is just way beyond anything.
No, that's fine.
And yeah, and for anybody who's listening who doesn't know, Profile Manager, Apple says, if you take Apple's any flavor of their MDM training, they're very clear that Profile Manager is a proof of concept app and not an actual tool for you to deploy devices with.
Apple says that about all their spec. MDM is a proof of concept.
Well, okay, fine, but don't do it. Profile Manager, do not, like, you know, and you talk to the people, like, I don't know, I've gotten a lot of calls from customers before where they're like, they set us up at the Apple store, they sent us home with a Mac Mini and 15 iPhones, and they told us we could do this server thing and then it would all just work. And we can't figure anything out. And the genius won't leave the store. They can't really set it up for us in the store. So what do we do? Right? And, you know, they think that they can do it with Profile Manager. Guess what? Alec is here to tell you, you can't.
Well, it works fine as long as you're in a school where students are coming into class every single day and their iPads can ping the server during the school day. And that worked great. Our plan, we went live with the PCs and the Macs on March 1st. And our plan was we were going to support the iPads since they were in the school every day. We could log in remotely to the profile manager machine and do any changes that we needed to the iPads. And then in the summertime, all the devices would get returned in June. We would spend time in July restoring all the iPads anyway. So at that point, we would get them all into Mosel so that we could do a real remote MDM that would give us access to the devices no matter where they were and no matter where we were.
Right.
About about a week later, after we went live with that plan, all the talk started about potential impact from rutabaga coming to the US. And 4 days later, the school made an announcement that they were going to discuss the impact of rutabaga at a teacher planning meeting that was going to be the following Monday. They already had this meeting planned. The kids were off of school. They were just changing the point of the meeting to at least discuss how are we going to handle this if something happens. The very next day, before they even got to have the meeting, they announced we're now closed for the next month. We're not going to reopen till mid-April. On March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, was the first day of remote learning where every student in the school had to suddenly learn how to use Google Classroom. They had already been using it to some capacity in the school, so it was not as bad as it could have been. And I want to commend the school on how they handled it. The teachers adjusted very quickly. There was not a ton of tickets like you would expect. They didn't need any hand-holding. They just took off running with it. The students did not have too many issues with it. The problem was the very next day, the teachers sent out a thing saying that we're going to start using Zoom for some virtual classroom time, really to give the teacher some face time with the students and the students some face time with each other so they're not too cooped up alone at the house. The problem was...
Okay, yeah, because Zoom probably was not one of the apps that was already installed on those iPads.
Exactly. They had never used Zoom before because they were all in the school together.
Right.
So they sent this plan out to the students saying, tomorrow we're going to start using Zoom. And all the students in the middle school who take their own iPads home did not have Zoom. So in the lower grades, not as big of a problem. They just said, okay, we're not going to do that unless your parents can run Zoom on one of their devices. The middle school kids were kind of unable to work at all with that plan. So they reached out to me again and said, hey, I've tried. The assistant principal was using Profile Manager to try to push Zoom, and it just wasn't showing up on any devices, as you'd expect, because the iPads are at home, the server's at the school, and they never anticipated an iPad out of the school needing to contact the server. So the firewall wasn't set up. Nothing was set up to do that. So I explained, that's probably not going to work and probably not worth the time to get all of that configured. And none of it, even after we configure everything, it may still not work because the iPads are looking for a local server. So I said, why don't we look at moving to Mosel sooner for the middle school? And they said, okay, that sounds fine. What we'll do is we'll have all of the parents in groups because we've got a social distance and we were only allowed at the time to have 50 people in a group. We'll have them come in blocks and drop off the iPads. We'll get them all into Mosel, and then they come back and pick it up, and maybe the next day another group comes and we do that. So a couple days later, at that point, I'm on the phone with Mosel. We're getting all the accounts set up, activated, paid for, everything like that. Next day, school has to announce now we're closed until May 1st. So they've now added another 2 weeks to the closure. So get on the phone with Mosel again, say, okay, we've changed of plans again. We might have to change how we do this. We verified that all the devices were in DEP, which thank goodness that happened. And DEP is the old version of Apple Business Manager or Apple School Manager.
Right.
So we get on the phone with Mosel. They are very fantastic. They remote screen share through Zoom with me. We get all the devices moved from DEP to Apple School Manager.
Yeah.
We get the old volume purchase program account integrated into Mosel so that we have access to all the apps that have already been purchased.
Okay.
We configure Apple School Manager so that all new apps will go through that instead, the way that Apple wants you to do it now. We get all the restrictions configured. We basically have to, one piece of information at a time, copy over from Profile Manager into a new configuration in Mosel, but we get all of that done.
Okay.
And we're still planning, we're going to have the parents bring the iPads in. That's the plan. The very next day, the city announces any work that can be done remotely must be done remotely, and schools are not allowed to open for any reason. So now the parents can't come in and bring the iPads very next day. So new plan. What I do is I go to the school, I grab one of the iPads that's in Apple School Manager now, bring it home, and I use QuickTime to record the screen as I walk through the process of backing up the data on the device, resetting the device in settings. Oh, the baby just woke up. And then setting it up in Apple School Manager with Mosel. And I record all of this in QuickTime, and I type out a bunch of directions.
Wait, I just want to interrupt you. So you were writing these directions and telling them to like erase all the content and settings. So this way, like it'd be setting up the iPad fresh and it would say, you have the managed device. And since you moved them all in DEP into ASM, Apple School Manager, they would automatically just flow back into Mosel and then get all the configs right back on, right?
Exactly. So when we erase the device at that time is paired to Profile Manager. We erase it, it contacts Apple again and says, hey, I'm a managed device. Where do I get my management directions? And Apple says, well, now you get them from Mosel, and it points it that way. So we get that, all the directions set up, all the devices are in Mosel, and then the very next day we have the students do this process with our fingers crossed, and it goes perfectly. 30 iPads in one day.
Isn't that awesome?
Erased. Right? Yeah. 30 iPads erased in Mosel. We had one iPad at all that had any issue, and the only thing that happened was some of the apps did not show up that were supposed to. So in Mosel, all I did was I pulled up that one iPad. I said, remove the apps that are missing, and Mosel immediately pushed the apps again, and now they showed up. And then I noticed some iPads were running old OSs, so I was able to push that, and everything went perfect. We've had no complaints about it. Zoom is now on all the iPads. The kids were able to have their first Zoom meeting.
Good job.
That's fantastic.
And
I mean, being able to move like that on the fly, figuring it out. I mean, I think a key element to this is knowing where all the parts are, right? Because you knew this one, you knew the steps that were needed to get through to get to your end goal, right? Because a lot of people think, they say, oh, if you can't touch the iPad, you wouldn't have been able to redo it. But like, you're like, okay, look, I can't touch the iPads, I can't do this, but we have access to like the core components, right? You had access to their old DEP account, you had access to their new school manager, you had access to Mosel. You were able to manipulate that to move that stuff through. So I think that's awesome. So
yeah, and I should give props to Apple as well, because we called them. We didn't have access to the DEP's account at the time, and we got on the phone with their education support line, and they got a ticket filed in to reset the account and put a rush on it, and it was supposed to be a 2 to 3 week process, and they got it done in 2 days.
Nice. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah. So
kudos to
everyone
Apple.
Really stepped up.
I mean, it's really great to see all of the different, so many teams, so many vendors are, really jumping through some hoops to make stuff happen, to keep the world moving, like keep kids learning. It's a big important thing, and it's a really cool. It's really.
I'm not trying to top. I think what Alex did was awesome. We had to do something similar to that. We had a bunch of Chromebooks, and like the day before the school closed, we had to push GoGuardian onto all the units So this way we were able to like monitor what they were doing and get Zoom, because it's the same thing, right? Like no one was set up for Zoom. So we had to push out Zoom to all of them. But then getting GoGuardian on there was great because we can, for anyone who doesn't know do you do Chrome, wait, Alec, do you do Chromebooks for schools
Yes,
yet?
they have, the media center is full of Chromebooks.
Yeah, so what GoGuardian does, the admin one, it allows you to set restrictions on the device, but you can set those restrictions to work even after when you're not inside a school. So we can block, violence and abuse and all brutality and all those pornography and all those gross things that students shouldn't be looking at, and we can block it, and it's set on the device. It's not on the network level, right? So GoGuardian allows you to do that. So we were able to do that on the fly. And now now that I log into the GoGuardian every now and then, I log in and I see what kids are looking at. Kids these days are weird. Like you're blocked porn, like we're blocking pornography, and this poor kid at one of these places we do is constantly like Google searching like boobs, butts, and whatever, and like I can see where he lands because I can see the URLs that are pulling up, and he's pulling up like bathing suit websites, and I'm like, dude, come on, whatever.
I mean, you're younger than me. We lived with the Victoria's Secret catalog. I mean,
we're not getting into that. We're not letting this podcast. For the record, I don't want to do a video on this show, or we might, I don't know, but like I keep looking out my window because it's raining from one direction and it's hailing from the opposite direction, and like I'm in the middle of it, and I mean, I know I'm Jewish. It's Passover. We're supposed to be worried about the plagues. First we have rutabaga, and now we have whatever the hell this is that's happening outside. If a frog flies by my window, I'm hanging up the phone and hiding under my blanket for the rest of the week. I'm done.
Well, I keep turning around because Michael just keeps smashing into the windows behind me. Apparently, he wants to be a part of the show.
He can be part of the show. It's fine by me. Right. I'm not gonna stop anyone's kids from being part of the show except for my own. But no, I think what you did was awesome. I think being able to, the ability to pivot is something that I think a lot of business owners on a whole, especially IT providers, business owners on a whole, have a real hard time doing, right? Because so many times and especially with IT providers, because we're so logical, we go like, we know we know what A is and we know what the end is B, and we know it's got to be a straight line. But a lot of times it's not. Being able to take that alternate route or trying what we call pivoting to do something like that is huge. So massive kudos to you for that one.
Thank you.
And now it's sunny outside. Rutabaga?
Perfect.
I don't
love it.
Don't know what's going on. Yeah, that's all I got.
All right, so perfect. Thank you for this story. I think this is great. No, I think this is good. I would love to have Alec on another time and talk about some of his history, how he got here, because that's also an interesting tale that I think people would be interested in. But we're getting a little long. We should wrap things up. I think there's a virtual conference coming up in May that maybe you want to say something about.
Is this really your lead into it?
That's it. You want to tell us something about it? This is how you're
doing it? So we're going to have we're having a virtual show where we're going to be broadcasting every episode of Aftermash.
I was waiting
I got it. I got it.
Oh, that hurt.
That's what you get for leading in with, I think there's something happening. ACES Conference 2020, the Prequel virtual show, May 19th and 20th, coming up soon. ACESCon.com, click on register for May. And then ACES Conference, the real show, the live show for IT professionals, in October 20th and 21st. The virtual show, just so you're aware, because I know a lot of the people who are listening are ACES family and our ACES friends and IT providers. The virtual show is not only for IT providers. We want you to actually invite your clients to the virtual show, because the virtual show is all about surviving and thriving in a post-rutabaga world. And we want to help all of these small businesses, figure out how to move on. I think a lot of it's self-serving. I'm not going to lie, because we're the IT providers for these small businesses. We don't want to see them go out of business. We want to see them survive. We want to see them thrive. We want to see them learn and maybe learn how to pivot. And we want to be there as IT providers to help them along with all of it. Oh, Alec just put up. We're not gonna. We now have to do video. We're gonna have to do video because Alec put up a Zoom background from Aftermatch, and I love it.
Awesome.
So ACES Conference 2020, the prequel for all small businesses. It's free for everyone. We have a ticket for $199, which will get you bonus exclusive content. Bonus sessions. We're going to be doing the ACES roundtables that we do. We're going to do those in Zoom, but you have to have a $199 ticket. So buy the $199 ticket or buy an actual ACES October ticket, and you get the virtual show with all the bonus content for free. It's a little confusing, but it is what it is.
And it's going to be great. So Justin and I, really Justin, have been working really hard on this. There's a lot of great content coming. I think when I was looking over the list this morning, I think we've already got 25 different speakers signed up. Is that about right?
Yeah, that sounds about
yeah.
right.
So I mean, and so we've got people from all kinds of different fields. This is not IT specific. This is like but this will be great for anyone who has a business. You know, this is. I'm
gonna call it out, right? So these are people we have them booked. We're hoping they come. Peter Shankman from our keynote from Austin, Jason Womack, our keynote from New Orleans, his wife Jody Womack. They're going to be doing 2 separate sessions. Jennifer Dawn, Colleen McKenna is going to be talking about LinkedIn. I'm doing a session on documentation. Marcy Maslov is back. Leonard Feinstein, Rich Wingfield from Vision Designs doing a session. Melanie Curtis, our own Melanie Curtis. We'd love Melanie Curtis. She's doing one. ACN, longtime ACN, Ron Gehrman is going to be doing a session on 1Password, which I think is a huge thing, especially for small to medium businesses. Because if you really think about it, 1Password is really part of business continuity, right? So he's going to be doing a session on that. We just got 6 new speakers signed up. Kate Wrigley doing stress management. Jeffrey Hecht is doing marketing on a budget. Dave Postalski is going to be doing some legal stuff. Helen Todd from Sociality Square is going to be doing more social media. Carl Palachuk from Managed Services in a Month. We're working with him on something. Jason Paradise from AXA Equitable is going to be doing finance. And we just signed, this is a wonderful woman, Quinn Conyers is going to be, her topic, I think this is amazing, turning virtual conversations into cash. I think that's awesome. So all of that's happening. All of this is going to be happening at the virtual show. 2 days, 24 hours of content, and even on replay, we'll have 48 hours of content for you. Come and go as you please. But you have to sign up. You have to get a ticket. You have to get a ticket. acesconf.com. Click on register for May and tell everybody. I saw Alec was posting it on LinkedIn and on Facebook the other day. That was awesome. I appreciate that. Keep up those posts.
Whew. Yeah, and I love that it's not just for ACNs this time around, so I can really share it with all the small business people that I know, not even just technology people.
Yeah, it's really is for everybody. I mean, that's kind of the dream here. It's like, you know, we do. It's kind of an extension of stuff that we do in our normal everyday life. You know, like Justin and I talk often about how, you know, as a consultant, as a tech consultant, with a small business, a lot of times you're also consulting on HR and unfortunately legal and budget and all of this other stuff. And so I think that, you know, we do have a little bit broader view, but we're able to, you know, to be able to pull in all these other people from other disciplines that are really, really experts and be able to share stuff is like great for. My car just drove down the street. So it's great for I think it's great for everybody. So I'm really excited about it. And can we share, because there's also a charity aspect to it, right? Can we talk about that?
We're not
going to talk about that.
We have a charity aspect. We're working on it. This is why we need legal. Right. But we'll have giveaways. Listen, this is what we're doing, right? We have 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. May 19th, 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. May 20th. Those are both will be replayed from 9 p.m. to 9 a.m. So if you're in another time zone, you can't catch us. So if you're in Australia or something like that and you can't catch us, you can watch the replay. We're going to have giveaways, bonus content, exclusive content. We have all of our sponsors from ACES. We have a couple of new sponsors who are coming in for just the virtual show. I mean, it's going to be this thing, like we're building this thing out, and it's like blowing my mind just what this is going to turn out to be. And to be honest, ACES people, it's for you. We want you there. We want your people there. Bring everyone, bring your entire staff. This isn't just for the owners. Invite your clients, and this will help get you more involved with them. You want them to be taken care of. This is how you do it, and you can help them with all these other things as well. So
they're going to know you're the expert.
AcesConf.com. Yeah, you got to be the expert. AcesConf.com. So that's it for us. Thank you so much, Alec from Bitworx, for joining us, and his little daughter there. Oh, that's so cute.
No, this is a boy with no haircut because the.
Oh, it's a boy. Oh, I'm so sorry. All right, I'm gonna cut it. My thanks to Alec from Bitworx and his son with no haircut there. Oh, so cute. Tim, anything other than coming to the conference? Anything else you want to tell the audience before we go? We might drop this a little early because we went so much about the conference, but anything you want to share before you go, before we leave?
I think you know me. I'm just glad that we're here. I'm glad that there's 125 people that listen to this show now, and I'm just thrilled we keep doing it.
My computer just told me we have a podcast recording in 10 minutes, so whatever.
We better go.
All right, that's it. Thanks, everyone.
All right, thanks, Alec.
Thank you.